He's a sinner, candy-coated.
Bugsy Malone was the show-stopping hit of the 70s, a scaled-down Sopranos with mini-mobsters and sarsaparilla-swilling showgirls.
Bugsy Malone.
In place of a bloodbath, there was one of custard. The gun shot cream, not bullets, and the stars drove pedal-powered sedans. This award-winning hit has captured the hearts of generations of children and adults, becoming the world's most famous kids' gangster movie.
The weird thing about it is it's all kids. When kids see the movie, I think they don't have any problem with that. They're like, oh yeah, that kid's got a mustache, no problem. You know, he's got a three-piece suit on, and the girl's got some dyed hair and some plucked eyebrows, but that seems fine in my arena. But I think when adults see it, it's quite shocking. I don't think there's ever been another movie that's done that.
It was everything. I mean, it was the sets, it was the clothing, it was the pedal cars, the great story. It was unique. I don't think there's ever been a film like it before or since.
Nobody dies. There's no cursing. You know, nobody gets thrown off a building. You have this whole little drama of gangsters and singing and dancing, and there's no badness. A guy gets killed with Splurge, shot repeatedly in the chest, and 2 scenes later he's singing and clapping and dancing. How could you not like a movie like that?
Anybody who is, anybody will soon walk through that door at Fat Sam's Grand Slam.
A homage to the golden age of Hollywood, it was the brainwave of Oscar-winning director Sir Alan Parker. His first ever feature film, it was inspired by his own family.
I had 4 small children of my own, so trying to find a film for them in the pre-Star Wars era was actually quite difficult. My eldest son came up with the idea of a film that had just kids in it, and so I wrote what was, you know, a pastiche of the musical and the American gangster film. And then I'd done a lot of work in commercials with kids, so I thought maybe I could pull it off. It's a kind of ridiculous, naive notion that you only have at the beginning of a career. Now I would never attempt it now, because you realise how hard it was to do.
Filmed in 70s Britain but set in 20s America, the gangs of New York were fighting a turf war. Speakeasy boss Fat Sam was under attack from rival Dandy Dan. Finding the perfect mini-mobsters and moles took Parker over a year, travelling across Britain and America, screen testing over 10,000 children.
We kind of narrowed it down, and we had even the narrowing down process, there was 20 hours of videotape, so it was a colossal exercise, but it's the only way you can do it really, to get the really best kids everywhere, all around the world.
Eventually, Parker cast 200 children from both sides of the Atlantic, but his biggest coup was convincing 12-year-old Jodie Foster to play saloon singer Tallulah, the boss's moll.
My name is Tallulah, my first rule of thumb.
Acting since the age of 3, she was an old hand. Fresh from Hollywood, she'd worked with some of the biggest names in the business.
It was an interesting experience coming from Taxi Driver and Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, and then to kind of drop into 200 kids, none of whom had ever made a film before. I just wasn't used to it, because I had made quite a few films, and there was a lot of, honestly, Alan Parker didn't have a lot to say to me. He sort of forgot I was there, you know. He'd just be like, okay, you do your thing. And then he had so many Labrador puppies to deal with that he kind of just let me do my thing.
Tula, could you leave us alone a minute? This man's talk.
Oh, that's all right. I'm unshockable.
Rough diamond New Yorker John Cassisi was plucked from complete obscurity to become Fat Sam, the gangland boss.
I remember when I picked him out, I found him in a school in Brooklyn. I went into the class and I said to the class, who's the naughtiest kid in this class? And everybody went, Johnny Cassisi.
Now button your lip, mister. You don't talk dirty to me. I don't like your mouth. I have to have some respect, you know?
I didn't do any acting for real. I mean, that was me. That was me and 5,000 other kids I grew up with. That's how we lived in Brooklyn. Back in those days, in the 70s, we, you know, it was a neighborhood that made men very quickly. You don't get a lot of time to be a boy.
Everybody wants that man, Bugsy Malone.
It was the Brooklyn bravado of fellow boy in the hood, Scott Baio, that convinced Alan Parker to choose him to play Fat Sam's accomplice.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Bugsy Malone. Don't call us, we'll call you.
I read it for him, and I really didn't want to be there because I didn't really like people I didn't know, and I was just a wise ass. I just threw the script at him and walked out of the room. And he cast me because of that.
Hey, Bugsy, you drive?
Sure, why?
I'd like to earn some green stuff.
As long as you're not talking about cabbages.
Step inside. I've got a little proposition to make to you.
We just played ourselves, basically. What we were was what we were. We were little New York street kids.
What's your name anyway? Brown. Brown? Sounds like a loaf of bread. Lousy Brown. Lousy Brown? Sounds like a stale loaf of bread. Ha ha, very funny, terrific. I'm feeling fine.
Florrie Duggar was already living on this side of the pond on an American air base when she was chosen for a bit part, but fate won her an upgrade to leading lady, playing Bugsy's love interest.
The original Blousey grew too tall. She grew taller than Scott. She had a growing spurt, which was very lucky for me. We ended up, they swapped us roles. So she took my small role and I took her big role and became Blousey, and the rest is history.
Shot at the historic Pinewood Studios on a budget of just £1 million, when the cast arrived, it took their breath away.
When I first walked onto the set, the first thing I thought was, wow.
To walk in and see the speakeasy completely done, and everybody in costume, it was just extraordinary. As a child, you know, I kind of never knew what my next movie was. It was sort of like, oh, you're doing that 20s film. Oh, okay, all right, I'll go do that. So it was just, it was an amazing moment.
It didn't really hit home until we got into wardrobe and started seeing the clothes, and then we saw Fat Sam's Grand Slam. That's when it really hit that, you know, we were making a movie.
Being turned into greaseback gangsters took hours in hair and makeup, and the boys lost more than their dignity.
Hey, Mac. Special on the rocks, huh?
When I had arrived in England, my hair was fairly long, and they cut it. And that's a big thing for a kid. They cut it short. And the ears I have now are the ears I had then, but my head was smaller. So if there was a stiff wind, you know, there's a lot of Dumbo action going on.
The transformation from the time I went in my Adidas and my sweatpants to I came out with my suit on and my hair slicked back, that was great. And that was a custom-made suit. I guess it was too fat to get a regular suit off the, you know, second-hand bin. I tell you, I felt like a man instead of a boy.
But being transformed from a girl to a woman brought tears to the eyes.
Of course, the first days that I got there, they threw me into the makeup chair and they said, you know, by the way, we're gonna bleach your hair, peroxide your hair, and I kind of freaked out about it because, you know, nobody had ever mentioned that to me.
Go fix your makeup.
I've already fixed it.
Then go make yourself more beautiful than you already are.
You know that that's impossible.
I was completely against it. I said, no, that's not gonna work for me. And my mom was totally against it. And they said, well, you know, it's okay. We're gonna sit you in the chair, and we're just gonna do a little rinse or something. And of course, they completely bleached my hair. And I, you know, got up from the thing and saw this shock of like the most unnatural color hair you've ever seen. You know, burst into tears, and they plucked my eyebrows for the first time. And I was like, ow, 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 you know. So I was just like, my eyes were all swollen, and I'd been crying. And my mom said, you know, do you want to go home? And I was like, no, it's okay. I'll do the movie anyway.
Snap it up, will you?
Put your flaps down, Tiger, or else you'll take off.
You spend more time putting yourself up than there is time in the day.
Listen, honey, if I didn't look this good, you wouldn't give me the time.